My sister's pregnant when they were teenagers. My mom being addicted to pain medication and being a drunk, seeing her get beat by men, and then my father smoking crack but not really being in my life.
Before Logic dropped his much anticipated sophomore album, The Incredible True Story, before Logic was featured on the cover of XXL as part of the top 10 Freshmen List, before he dropped Psychological from his artist name Psychological Logic, with the birth name Sir Robert Bryson Hall II and his skin complexion, a lot of people are under the assumption that Logic is from the suburbs of LA. The truth is, he grew up in a Maryland housing project and is of half white and half African American ethnicity. Growing up, his father was a crack addict, his half brothers, they were crack dealers, his mother was a prostitute and a drug user, and at one point she tried to strangle young Logic to death. My name is Michael McCrudden, documenting the life of Logic prior to fame, here for you on Before They Were Famous. This one was requested a whole bunch by the subscribers. I read all the comments, guys, so be sure to let me know in the comments down below who's next. Sir Robert Bryson Hall II was born on January 22nd, 1990 in Gaithersburg, Maryland, which is roughly 30 minutes from Washington, D.C. He grew up in Section 8, it was community housing, there were guns in the house, frequent drug use, and sale. Logic has stated that he grew up on food stamps, never having a Christmas or a birthday. His African American father at one point was a musician, he worked with the likes of Chuck Brown. That was before drugs took a hold of his life. Throughout Logic's childhood, he had very little contact with his father, but since then, as of now, his father is cleaned up and the two of them are on speaking terms. Growing up, Logic had half-brothers who would sell crack cocaine. They even sold crack to their father. He also had a really close friend who had a healthy home life, and Logic would really enjoy hanging out with this guy's house. That was until this guy was put away for 14 years for murder. He slit someone's stomach open. Logic's home life, well, it was a living hell. His mother was always screaming and fighting with visiting men. At one point she was raped, another time she got stabbed. There would be so many confrontations, there was blood all over the house. If that weren't enough, Logic's mother would also get mad at her own son for his mixed ethnicity. Yeah, he says she was a racist.
I mean, I'm not trying to bash my mother or anything,
Right.
but she was like crazy. She was like really crazy. So
At one point, she even tried to murder him via strangulation, which is strange because of all his parents' kids, he's the only one who looks white. Logic's home life, it took its toll on his schooling. At one point, his teachers, they met his mother, and they figured this kid's gotta be trouble, so they put him in the troubled youth program. When he entered 5th grade, his mother intervened, deciding to homeschool her son instead. Her curriculum, daily black and white movies, which included a lot of Frank Sinatra. At this time, he also became a frequent pot smoker, a habit he has since given up. Eventually, social services intervened and he returned to school in the 8th grade. This was around the same time that Robert, or young Bobby, had started rapping. He studied acts like Wu-Tang Clan, The Roots, Big L, Nas, and A Tribe Called Quest. He attended Gaithersburg High School, but he only made it to the 10th grade. He got kicked out of school because he skipped too many classes. At this time in his life, he decided to get some part-time jobs, and he would fend for himself. He'd move out of his mother's home. Due to low wages, he would work multiple jobs simultaneously. He worked at Jiffy Lube, he also worked at a children's daycare, as well as many restaurants and other places. In his free time and with his disposable income, well, he would pour all that into his music. One friend who believed in his budding talent gave him a gift. It was 100 CDs on how to become an MC, and they were filled with instrumentals that he could rap to. He released an unofficial mixtape in 2009 under the artist name Psychological Logic. It was titled The Mixtape, and it actually did well enough in his native Maryland that when Pitbull, Method Man, Redman, and Ludacris rolled into town, Psychological Logic was their opening act. Eventually, he came to the point where he decided to drop the Psychological and just go with Logic. There would be 3 more mixtapes. It was reported that he signed with Def Jam in 2013, but he actually signed with them in 2011. And this was prior to the release of Young Sinatra. Now Logic, the guy doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke marijuana, he doesn't do any drugs, and seeing what he came from, it's easy to understand why. Instead, he puts all his focus and all his energy into becoming the best lyricist, the best rhymer he could possibly be. In Welcome to Forever, Logic raps about how Nas quoted his lines to him when they first met, and Lupe Fiasco recently claimed he thinks Logic is lyrically better than Kendrick Lamar. Also, the guy is doing okay with the ladies, his female fans, he refers to them as the Bobby Soxers. Yeah, just like Frank Sinatra. And the rest of the story, well, you know the story. This is Before They Were Famous. My name is Michael McCrudden. Thanks for checking out my personal channel. I do all sorts of celebrity bios on here. I've done a whole lot of rappers. I've done The Game. I've done Kevin Gates. I've done YG. I've done Kendrick Lamar. I've done Riff Raff. I've done Eminem. I got a few more coming your way. But be sure to let me know in the comments down below who you want me to do next. And I'll see you guys in the next video.